In the light of xenophobic attacks recently in South Africa, the Church stands to condemn all acts of violence against foreign nationals and their properties. We are here in South Africa as a nation that has learned to welcome others. We are able to live with other people who are different from us. We are a nation of hospitality. We are a nation of welcome. And in that light, we want to speak against xenophobia in all its forms. And I would like to say that most immigrants here in South Africa are here legally, and they have documentation to that effect. And if there are people who are here illegally, it is a matter of our Department of Home Affairs, it is a matter of our government, it is a matter of our police, it is the matter of our border control. It is our responsibility as a nation, yes, to look after South Africa and its people, but let us not take over the responsibility of law enforcement agencies of our country by taking the law into our hands. Let them deal with such matters. And we have to stop saying that most of these asylum seekers and immigrants and foreign nationals are merely economic migrants coming to South Africa to fight with South Africans for scarce economic resources. Because the motive for all these foreign nationals for being in South Africa is not just for economic reasons. There are many other reasons which I will outline a bit later. It is true that perhaps there are foreign nationals who promote prostitution, scams, human trafficking in all its different forms, crime, and corruption. And that issue as well is not for us to take, the law into our hands. It is a matter for our police services and various government departments. And for us as citizens, and I'm speaking here on behalf of the church to say, we have to work with government to fight crime and to bring criminals to book lawfully, legally. Yes, there could be weaknesses around law enforcement in South Africa. This is a serious matter, but we cannot deal with it by fighting foreign nationals. We have to work with government to come up with a solution. Do not take the law into your hands. And I want to appeal to South Africans, tame your frustrations in this area and pressurize the very government you have voted for. Because that government must act for you and for your interest. If you feel that they are letting you down, you have to challenge them, or you can even vote them out. That foreign nationals do not pay taxes is true in some instances, but let us not overlook the fact that many foreign nationals are law-abiding and they do pay taxes. That there could be businesses that are not registered, that they do not comply with labor laws, they do not comply with our own business laws in the country. That is a matter for the South African Revenue Services, Labor Department, and all other, the economic cluster as a whole. They have to deal with that. Why are we paying them? What are we paying for if they are not doing their work? You have a right as a citizen to engage with them and to demand accountability. If you are not satisfied, Fight with them. Fight with these departments. Fight with the heads of departments. Fight with the ministers, but not with foreign nationals. That our academic institutions show favoritism to foreign students and lecturers, and that they are feeling imposed due to South Africans. This, for me, is neither here nor there. And if you are concerned about it, do not target anybody. Do not target students. Do not target professors and lecturers in the universities. But engage with the Department of Higher Education. What I do know is that our universities have done very well simply because of the presence of foreign students and professors from other countries who have come here to enrich us and to lift the standard of education. So let us be careful before we come to conclusion. I've met some of the students in the universities across the country. Some of them are Catholic. So we meet them in the Association for Catholic Tertiary Students, ACTS. And I'm telling you, they are wonderful people. They are positive. Some of them are here to study, and they are ready to go back to their own countries to go and improve the standard of life in their own countries. But some of them would like to stay here because they've discovered South Africa as a beautiful place and as a place that where they can stay and develop themselves further. Well, some of these foreign nationals are our in-laws. Now imagine, you want to separate families. Most of them are members of our churches. They belong to various mosques and temples. So you want to divide our churches as well. Most of them are doing honest business in South Africa. They pay taxes. They offer job opportunities to South Africans. And I always say to South Africans, there is a lot that we can learn from them. Look at the spirit of entrepreneurship. They have the culture of entrepreneurship. So we can learn from them. We can share their ideas and be able to use them for our own development. Many of them have come here as asylum seekers. They are immigrants, they are refugees as a result of civil war. Many of them are suffering because of political repression in their own countries. They are suffering as a result of dictatorships, failed states, terrorism, starvation, persecution. And why should we close our doors and ignore that some people are here because of these problems? Problems in Burundi, problems in Zimbabwe, problems in the DRC, in South Sudan. Where should they go? Yes, there are some heading up to Europe, others are going to Asia, others are going to America, others are coming to South Africa. And I think that we have to learn and find a way of accommodating them. Most of our foreign nationals are good people. They are honest people. I've got friends among them. I've got families among them. They are here, yes, for a better life, because of our security, because of our beautiful country, because of our standard of living. They are here for education, for work. They are here for medical reasons. They are here for religious purposes. They are here for business. Let us welcome them and let us live with them. Because foreign nationals are human beings like all of us. They are citizens of the world like all of us. They are children of God like all of us. Imagine, in some other Middle East countries, people are not allowed to practice their religion. They cannot practice Christianity, for example. And I remember when I was still in Pretoria at the cathedral, I had parishioners from the Middle East, some from Egypt, others from Iraq, Iran, saying to us, we are here because we cannot live our faith as Christians in the Muslim countries. We have come here because we know South Africa is a place where we can be able to live in peace and be able to practice our faith without fear. Why should we lock people like those out? They are human beings. They are citizens of the world. They are children of God like all of us. Most of them are investing in this country in all levels, spiritually, academically, scientifically, socially, financially. And I want to find out, why do you prefer to accept and appreciate the investment, but you don't like the investor? They are here investing their lives and their resources to build our country. And I think we are better off with the presence of foreigners in our country. It will be sad, a very, very sad day for all of us, if our foreign players, journalists, architects, investors, actors, missionaries, teachers, doctors, artists, etc., were to leave South Africa. I believe we would be really very, very poor indeed. And so I am making a passionate appeal to South Africans. Bring peace, law and order. Enforce peace. And I want to appeal to the law enforcement agencies, to South African Police Service, to South African Defence Force. Do your work. Use the might of the law. Let justice take its course. And give hefty sentences to law breakers. Force them to respect our laws. Promoters of xenophobia must be arrested immediately. Promoters of xenophobia are enemies of South Africa. Facilitate reconciliation, healing, and reintegration back into communities, into churches, into NGOs. Remember the words of Jesus Christ. Blessed are the peacemakers. Creating unity and facilitating the integration of foreign nationals back to their communities is a process we can all take part in. As Christians, let us maintain peace, while at the same time challenging the intelligence services and the police services so that they may stay alert and awake to stamp out the ugly head of xenophobia in the future. They must act quickly. They must have decisive leadership. They must know and see the symptoms and signs of xenophobia and act immediately to prevent it from happening. We need visible policing. We need intelligence work. But at the same time, we must address the legitimate needs of the people on the ground. And we must say to our communities, we must use dialogue to solve problems. We must talk. We must persuade people. We must teach South Africans about the history of Africa, about the history of liberation movements in Africa. We must teach African values, Ubuntu, especially the virtue and the value of hospitality, the spirit of welcome, which Pope Francis is talking about. We must teach black history in and out of Africa. We must teach our children and our youth the need for tolerance, for coexistence, for mutual existence, for multiculturalism. We must give entrepreneurial skills to our youth. We must instill, yes, the spirit of patriotism, but not one which excludes, but one which is willing to accommodate. We must teach the history of the AOU, teach them the AU, teach them the AU anthem, celebrate May 25 properly as a country, because that is the date that brings us together as Africans. On the other hand, we must also establish programs for foreign nationals. Foreign nationals coming here must be taught, the South African Constitution. They must understand our Bill of Human Rights. They must know the cultures of South Africa. They must learn the languages of the people. They must know the history of South Africa, especially the history of apartheid. Coming into our country, they must respect our labor laws. They must respect our policies concerning the South African Revenue Services. People must agree to this before they are given citizenship. But at the same time, while we say now our government and Home Affairs must deal with illegal immigrants, our police must deal with drug dealers and criminal syndicates. They must identify those who are responsible for scams and corruption, for human trafficking, and all these other evils that we are experiencing. We are saying to the police, deal with these issues decisively. You have to be tough. South Africans are getting tired because you are not tough enough. And as a result, they are the ones who are suffering. The South African government said, we do not believe in refugee camps. We are not going to tolerate refugee camps. That is the present government. And we are open to that. They say all foreign nationals must be integrated into the communities. But what is the government doing to assist us to integrate foreign nationals in the communities? The government is nowhere to be found. They are far away. So they are actually saying, you see how you go about it. If they say they don't want refugee camps, which is a very sensible thing to do, let them be there then to assist communities to integrate foreign nationals into the communities. In South Africa, people believe that you can do anything you want and you have nothing to fear, and that our laws are weak. And that is something for us to raise with government, and I think the church is in a better position to do that. We have to go and engage with government so that we can make the government aware that victims of crime, especially the crime that comes from foreign nationals and their syndicates, is somehow contributing towards xenophobia. So government must deal with crime and these criminal syndicates. Then we will see xenophobia becoming less and less and less, and it will be eradicated eventually. And lastly, as Christians, in the light of xenophobia in South Africa, let us pray for forgiveness. Let us pray for unity. We need to continue a spiritual warfare and an economic warfare against poverty, misery, and the suffering of so many people here in South Africa. We have to fight lack of service delivery, which is responsible for a lot of xenophobia that we see in our country. Our government has to do something to make sure that people receive that people receive the services they expect from government. Because when they are frustrated, when they are angry, then unfortunately foreign nationals and their shops and their homes become the first targets. Pray against the arrogance and criminal attitudes and actions of some of the immigrants. Pray against the spirit of corruption and the passivity of our law enforcement. Let us also pray so that we as Christians and South African families and communities may be there to protect foreign nationals, illegal or otherwise. As long as they are here and they are being victimized, we have to protect them. We have to accommodate them. We have to feed them. We have to step out and say, you are my brother, you are my sister, even though you come from another country. We have to affirm them as part of us and make them feel at home. Really, South Africans, let us pray for harmony, peace, development, coexistence, tolerance, and respect for other people. And I'm going to suggest that as we continue to pray, we must also act in reaching out to foreign nationals, making them our friends, making them part of us, so that at the end of the day, there will be one community, not us against them, but one people, one humanity, all of us as children of God. We can build a better nation in that sense. Thank you very much. May God bless you.